Partly it's the
Yeah.
sun, it's the fresh air, it's moving our muscles,
Yeah.
and recognizing all of that amazing creation around us.
I am really enjoying talking about nature studies, and it's just so funny. I here's the thing. You were talking about how there's always reasons to not go outside. And I'm not a like sit down and watch TV kind of person all day long. I don't do that. I'm constantly busy all the time. But the reality is that I do not like to be uncomfortable when it comes to the weather. I am such a baby. I don't like to be too hot. I don't like to be too cold. Like the weather right now where we are, it's mid-November and the weather is gorgeous. I mean, it's like in the 70s, mid to high 70s, and it's just beautiful outside and it's my perfect weather. And so if I could live in this all the time, I would go outside more. But I'm a big baby because I don't want to be too hot. I don't want to be too cold. I don't want to be uncomfortable in the temperature that I am in. And so I just need to get over that, right?
Well,
I
in
just
some
do.
ways you do. I don't like to be cold. And so there are not nearly as many moments in nature in the winter for me.
Yeah.
I think as moms, sometimes it's a little less about being uncomfortable because we could force ourselves to do that.
Sure.
Um, there are a lot of things to do in a day. And
Yeah.
it seems as if we take some time out to do a nature walk rather than pushing the kiddos out in the backyard to play, where we can watch them from a window and get things finished in the
Yeah.
home. That seems like a better plan, but it's worthwhile. It's
Yeah.
worthwhile not only for those kiddos that we're trying to train, but for us. And in the last episode, we talked about how I, as a young mom, started learning a whole lot more about the Lord being out there. So it was worthwhile for me as well, and still is.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell you how old I am. I've been homeschooling for more than 20 years, so we'll just put it that way. And I'm still learning every single time I go outdoors.
Yeah.
Not only learning, but I'm refreshed. You know how the Lord tells us that He will renew us every day. I find my renewal. Yes, I love nature study, but even on those cold days when I don't really want to be out there, if I will force myself to go out even for 10 or 15 minutes, I find renewal out there. I
Hmm.
think partly it's the
Yeah.
sun, it's the fresh air, it's moving our muscles,
Yeah.
and recognizing all of that amazing creation around us.
Talk really quickly about nature guides because I know a lot of people use them. To be honest, I've never actually used a nature guide for anything. I probably because I don't really know how to use a nature guide. How do you use them? And do you have any that you recommend?
Okay, well, my very favorite of all are is it the Smithsonian's that are my very favorite? I'm pretty sure it's the Smithsonian's. I really love the Petersons too. And
Okay.
I hesitate to say that. That's kind of a blanket statement
Okay.
because I feel like if you're in a specific area where someone has created a field guide specific to your area, it's going to be so much more valuable to you in the long run.
Sure.
But if you are choosing a Smithsonian or a Peterson just as a broad, both of those are great, great options. The
Okay.
Smithsonian, I think, are the ones that have a little bit better picture quality.
Okay.
How do I use them? So we've used them in multiple ways throughout the years of homeschooling. Sometimes I would particularly notice, oh, these birds have started coming back into the area. So around the morning timetable, I might say, hey, would you read the stats on this bird? And would you read the stats on this bird? And then we would go on a nature walk specifically looking for them. And I just kind of kept it in my back pocket that I knew they were in the area
Hmm.
so that when we would go on a nature walk, they were prepared to go, oh my word, we're seeing that bird that we just read about this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't say. Other times we've used them on nature walks. Wildflowers is a big one that I can think of. We actually will take a wildflower guide with us and a little sheet of those tiny, tiny stickers, just like little smiley faces or something.
Uh-huh.
And we will find a wildflower and find it in the field guide. And once we identify it, we'll put a little sticker on that page. And it's sort of our ongoing see if we can find every wildflower that's listed in this Kentucky wildflower book.
Yeah.
So that's a super fun thing to do that doesn't involve a whole lot of study,
Sure.
And then
Sure.
other times we'll be outdoors and we'll find something and we'll say, well, okay, so we know it's I don't know, let's say an insect. We know that it's a hopping insect, but doesn't look like a grasshopper, doesn't look like a cricket. I don't know. So let's ask some questions. Let's all remember some kind of characteristic about it. And then let's go home and open up that field guide and see if we can find it.
Yeah.
So those are 3 ways to use field guides. There are others too, but those
Yeah.
give you 3 real practical ways.
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.